Mike Reis with 2011 Saluki Hall of Fame inductee Cameron Wright. What's this mean to you?
It's just, this is an accomplishment that, you work hard for, and you think about, I don't know, when you think about what you did as a young athlete, and then all the way through high school and then through college, it's kind of like the cherry on top, you might say. And so I've lived in Southern Illinois my entire life, and I've been able to see some great athletes come through here. And this is just to be able to be a part of that, and to be able to say that I was one of the better athletes at Southern. It's just a tremendous honor and something I'm very proud of.
Your family and friends followed your career so closely. They just have to be stoked for this too, Ken.
Absolutely. I mean, my family, they're all from around here, a lot of close friends, and got many congratulations and from everyone, and everyone's just thrilled, so it's great.
You signing autographs with HOF underneath it yet?
Not yet. I don't see that coming.
All-American high jumper 5 times. You won the Valley 4 times. So what's your proudest Saluki moment?
I would say my proudest Saluki moment is the outdoor season, my sophomore year. The conference championship was at Terre Haute at Indiana State, and they had a very, very good high jumper there by the name of Steve Smith. And he was nationally ranked, of course, and very good. And he had a big contingency of people and fans there. All of his frat brothers were there, and he was going to win the conference championship at home. And I had heard from some people that he was gunning for me, and so I was so fired up for that meet. And we went in there, and I ended up breaking a conference record and set a track record there, and won the conference championship, and it was a very, very exciting moment.
You won the Valley as a sophomore. You were the MVP of the outdoor meet in the field events. That had to be huge for you.
Absolutely. It was a time where really it got big time a little bit. Like it became more than just I was a pretty good high jumper. It became, wow, I was almost coming up at a national scale and an elite scale, and I was qualifying for the USA Championships and things like that. And so that was a time where I might say that it became very serious, that I became more than just a decent high jumper. I became almost a national elite type of a high jumper.
Were you, did you have All-American written all over you coming out of Marion, and thus were heavily recruited?
I was heavily recruited after, I signed with Southern when I was a 6'10" high jumper with about 3-4 weeks left in the season. Mm-hmm. The meet before state, I jumped 7 foot, and then at state, I jumped 7'1" and went for a state record. And so right after the state championships, Colorado, Georgia, many different, Purdue, many different universities started calling, and I had told them, hey, I've signed with SIU. And of course, Darren Plob was here, and Darren Plob was the national champion in 90. So that was a big drawing point for me. And so they were like, okay, so I would say that I was right up there with everybody else, probably top 10 in the country as a high school senior by the time it was over with, but not when I signed with Southern.
Yeah. Who was important to you at Southern?
So many different people.
Who were the most important people to you?
Well, Bill Cornell was my coach, was my head coach here. Bill Cornell was a person that recruited me. I can remember when I was at Marion, and he actually came and watched a meet, and I got beat at the meet by Dan Brazy, who was actually second at state that year. Mm-hmm. And I remember going home and literally crying, and Ed Berger told me, don't worry about it, they still want you. And so Bill brought me in, and Bill was a great coach for me, and then also he was a guy that gave me a chance to coach here at Southern then after my athletic career was over with.
Mm-hmm. All right, the pursuit of being an Olympian, when did that begin?
When I started seriously thinking about it was probably in 1993. I had just watched the 92 Olympics. Darren Plob had qualified for the Olympic Games, and I thought, man, somebody that I know, that I'm personal friends with, just qualified for the Olympic Games. And then I had that big jump, like I mentioned to you at Terre Haute. And then I started thinking, well, 96, it's a few years down the road, it could happen. But, so I started, it was in the back of my mind, and it was kind of the big, huge goal that was out there, but it wasn't something that consumed my mind every single day, because you think about the smaller goals every single day, and the big goal for me, I thought about, it was kind of in the back of my mind.
You qualified for the Olympics with a personal best. That has to be one of the best feelings that you had, to hit a home run like that at the biggest time.
Absolutely. I was, it was on my last attempt. I'd missed my previous 2 attempts, and I had 1 attempt left, and I was scared to death. I mean, because literally I knew that if I made the jump, I was on the Olympic team, and if I missed the jump, I'd end up like 7th or something. And so, very nerve-wracking thing, but it was one of those times. I've had 2 jumps in my life where I can honestly say I don't know where it came from. That was the state championship jump at 7-1 and that jump. It was almost, for me, as a Christian, I feel like the Lord lifted me up over the bar.
And you're competing unattached.
Yeah.
At that time, right? And give the people that, what does that mean? Why is that? It's harder that way.
What it means is that all the jumpers that I was jumping against the Olympic trials were professional jumpers. They had shoe deals, and they were paid for by their shoe companies. I paid my own way. And also, a little known fact is I jumped in a ripped up SIU t-shirt at that meet. And I did it because I ripped up the sleeves, and it looked absolutely unprofessional as can be.
You ripped it on purpose?
Well,
or you were just busting through?
No, I ripped up. Yeah, no, I never busted through any shirt. But I tore off the sleeves, and my thought process was, I'm going to come in here with a torn off T-shirt and tear you guys to pieces. So it was a mental thing. Excuse
me. Did you compete better when you were mad?
I feel like I've always competed better when I had a chip on my shoulder, and that goes all the way back even when I was in high school in basketball or junior high or whatever. I've always, when I got angry or had a chip on my shoulder, I always focused in just a little bit harder.
And if you didn't make it in '96, and your career at Southern ended in '95, so it's less than what, 6 months, and you're in the Olympics when you're done. If you don't, do you make it in 2000?
Possibly. I don't know. I mean, that's a great question.
So
because
maybe you never make the Olympics.
Maybe I never make the Olympics.
If you don't hit that home run.
Right. That's a very good possibility.
Yeah. At Atlanta, in the Olympics, take us through competing, what you did well, what you didn't do well.
Well, I expended so much energy, mental energy and physical energy, just to make the Olympic team. The Olympic Games are 4 weeks after, and so, not to get too technical, but you can only hold a certain peak phase for so long, and so I was fighting that a little bit. Mentally, I was ready. I actually jumped an all-time practice personal best 3 days before the Olympic Games, and that was a 7.4.5 practice jump. But when I got into the stadium, there was 85,000 people in there, and the only other thing that was going on was like a race walk or something, and so everybody was focused on the high jump. And I was 23 years old. I was the 5th youngest jumper in the Olympic Games at the time. You might say I was overwhelmed a little bit, and I just got too excited and it kind of threw off my approach. I ended up jumping 7.3. It was a decent jump, but I wish I could have done a little bit better at the Olympic Games. I finished right in the middle of the pack, and I think I could have done better than that. But all in all, I mean, at the time, just the way I was ticked off, and actually didn't even go to the White House to meet the president because I was so mad. I just went straight to Europe to jump professionally, and so I wanted to just get back out there. I regret some of those silly things, but you can't get too mad at yourself, because that's the kind of attitude that made you successful in the first place.
You're proud of your career, aren't you?
I feel like I gave it everything I had. It's very important to me. I can look back and say I could have given nothing more. I did it clean. I didn't, I never cheated. I never did anything wrong. I did it the right way, and I don't think I could have accomplished much more. So I'm very pleased with what I was able to achieve.
Well done. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame, and thank you for the time.
Thank you very much.
Cameron Wright, 2011 Saluki Hall of Famer.